Hey, what's going on, everybody? Adam here from the Tech Frontier, and today is episode 6, and I got an exciting guest on for today. I got John Ting, and he is an AI voice agent and automation specialist. He's based in the UK, and firstly, John, thank you for coming on the show, and how are you doing today, man?
No worries. Doing great, doing great. Loads of sales calls, loads of things happening. In the field that I'm in, it's always loads of things happening. So that's always busy.
Nice. That's wonderful to hear. And when you reached out to me in the school group chat, we're in the AI Voice Pioneer about this episode. I just saw that you've been working a lot in, real estate and property management for voice agents and automations. That's a very, very interesting niche. So can you kind of like break that down for viewers? Like, what are you doing and how are you helping people?
Yeah. So essentially, I've been in the property scene for quite a while now. My family have been property investors for since I can remember, to be honest. But like
Mm,
being property investors ourselves and we're managing properties, I've noticed that in the property world, especially nowadays, a lot of people are actually in the older generation. They don't know a lot
right.
about AI automations. Most of them barely have a website if they have an agency.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things that can be done there. So, for example, in terms of the agency side, which is a lot of the work that I'm doing right now, a lot of people are putting on listings for properties and they're getting tens of calls per day and they have no way to take that volume of calls, for example, because let's say me and you, Adam, are just managing one agency, because we can
Yes.
easily manage an agency with, let's say, 100 properties. Then if we get 10 calls per property, then that's already 1,000 calls. That's easily a volume that people can't take. So
Right.
it's actually a hugely needed technology in the scene, but at the same time, the scene is lacking in technology. So that's where I come in essentially.
Right. And so, because I know you do both automations and voice agents. Like, where did you start off with your entrepreneur field? You're incredibly young too, 23. So, like,
Not
getting
as
into
young as
the
you.
yeah, we were talking about this before the show. But anyways, yeah. So John, dude, you're killing it for where you are right now. Getting into such a good niche like you are in, and doing all the automations and stuff. But like, where did you start? When did you set your foot in the entrepreneur field?
Um, so about last year, I
Okay.
started my own business in property. So
Right.
this has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. It's more
Mhm.
essentially what we call in the UK property business rent to rent. What happens is essentially we rent a property out for a long period of time, and because we're renting for a very long period, let's say 3 to 5 years, we can negotiate for essentially cheaper rent, and from there we use it as a service accommodation. With service accommodation, it's mostly going to be per night or per week, so you have a margin, right? Because let's say we rent a property out and per month we're paying £2,000, but for Airbnb or Booking.com, per night you're already charging £200. So 10 days
Right.
is going to get your money back and the rest is your margin. So that was the business from last year onwards, and I still operate it.
Hmm.
But at some point, at the start of this year, I noticed this specific niche with automation and receptionists. That's why we kind of got into this field as well in terms of automations.
Nice. And like, what's the name of your business? What do you specifically focus in? Just to have the floor to kind of fill in our viewers what you do.
Yeah, so the name of the business is called Talos Labs. I named it Talos is because it's the name of the first robot in Greek mythology.
Okay,
So
I like that. That's actually really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So in Greek mythology, there's this god of weapons or whatever, and he made a robot that
Hmm.
essentially guarded a an island, and that's
Yes.
the first robot that humans have ever conceived of. So it's actually my dream to be able to push humanity into like a new future. So that's why I named it Talos Labs. But essentially, yeah, um, we do all sorts of automations around the property scene.
Mhm.
So when you think about property investing or property agencies, there are so many sides to it. For example, finding
Mhm.
a property to buy. For example, finding a landlord that's willing to let you manage the property. All
Right.
these things require a lot of manual work normally, but
Mhm.
with the power of AI outreach or AI inbound call that can essentially pre-qualify people, a lot of
For
this manual
follow-ups,
work.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Follow-ups as well. So I implement these systems for agencies specifically, but also sometimes property investors.
Nice. So are you doing this so it's full AI, or is there still some human touch to it?
That's a good question. It's a good question, actually. So if you're looking at some other field, for example, I don't know if it's a case in. Where are you from, Adam?
I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case in Canada, but in the
Okay.
UK, a lot of phone providers are actually taking, if you call up, let's say Three, or if you call up Vodafone, they're taken by AI nowadays in the UK.
Mm.
So they already implement something similar, and I think people aren't that against it, but in the property business, people are sometimes.
Right.
So
Discrepancies there.
yeah, so in fact, a lot of the objections that I'm getting is people saying, we don't want an AI taking calls. I'd rather miss a call
Mhm.
than have an AI take the call, because people are still thinking in that old school way. Because if you think
Yeah.
about it, the people buying properties are also at an older age,
Yeah.
so that's a problem. So the way we typically operate is the first layer is always going to be human, and when
Mhm.
the human can't take the call or when the human can't be bothered, it gets routed to an AI.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely been something I've had an issue with.
Yeah,
Because I'm in the voice AI space now. I'm more focused on like SEO websites, landing pages,
yeah,
but I've definitely had my fair share of at least trying to get some voice agents up, and I do have
yeah,
one, but it's not out facing publicly. Like it's one that this guy uses for personal work.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely a lot of skepticism. So if I am, my approach is if I'm trying to at least sell a voice agent to someone, it's after like I have some warm relation. It's very hard to just on cold contact
Yeah.
go up to somebody and be like,
Oh,
yeah,
super
now
hard.
we're gonna replace your entire operating system,
Yeah,
especially because it might not even be that like of course if something like that wonderfully worked, which funny enough it does, people might think of it in comparison to like those silly oh sorry those silly like phone things where it's like, oh, press one for this, press two. No
yeah,
one likes that. All
yeah,
right, so I think
yeah.
that's the
100%.
notion people might have in their brain,
Yeah,
and
I've
that's
had
why.
people tell me that they already have AI, and I was just like, what kind of AI? And they're just like, yeah, I mean, I can ask them to press one for sales and press two for lettings. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
they, sorry, go on.
I got a question. No, where like what are you doing for like outreach? Like, it's I know I've tried cold calls for voice agents. It's a
Right,
hard one, man.
it's so
What are you
hard.
doing for outreach?
Okay, mainly cold calling.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
No, but like, hey, dude, props to you for that because I've been on the other end of those calls, man, and
Yeah.
people go, I don't ever want to hear you talk to me again, and then right down. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's been brutal
100%.
before.
Yeah, it's like basically most calls, man. Most of them. But
Yeah,
I find it to be the most effective outreach option for me, to be honest. Because I
right to the
tried,
person. Yeah.
yeah, I tried cold emailing, but cold emailing
Mhm.
basically just never worked because I think with these agencies they're getting tens of if not hundreds of these emails essentially. So
Yeah.
that didn't work out for me. And to be fair, I didn't try a huge amount, probably just a few hundred to 1,000. But at the same time, it's not, it doesn't feel real enough for me. So the main outreach method I have is actually cold calling.
I really enjoy cold calling. Not only is it great for one like outreaching and actually trying to get business, but I think it improves almost like every other skill you can work on in business, like
Yeah,
communication, working on your sales, overcoming obstacles and objections.
yeah,
You're working all of it in one, and not only are you getting to, I mean, the prospect like if you pass the gatekeeper, that is. But once again,
yeah,
you're learning how to do that. You're learning to get past obstacles. You're able to speak directly to the owner, and not only are you able to now hear exactly why they might oppose it, meaning that you could learn going forward. Um, you're under pressure. There's other human elements to it, and I feel like if you're a very good speaker, you can really improve your game just on how you talk and convey
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I mean, 100%. That's how I see it as well, because that's how I started my property business as well. Just cold calling landlords, seeing if they needed management for their properties, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And typically, what I find is it teaches you a lot about, like you said, basically maintaining the conversation in the way that's favorable to you, and
Hmm.
also it's a light discovery as well, isn't it? At the end of the day, so
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, at the end of the day, you're already communicating with the people that they have a problem. You already have the skill to listen and to talk in a way that people open up to you. That's incredibly valuable, I reckon.
Yeah, I love that we're talking about this too because, like a few of my other guests on the show, that like they talk about different forms of outreach, like meta ads or cold
Right.
emailing. I myself am trying to get into the meta ad space because like I'm always on video anyways, and
You
I have
you
stuff that
you have a cold calling team, don't you, Adam?
I do. I am thinking of starting to shift that over to like just contacting warm leads and doing follow-ups because if I
Okay.
start shifting to something like meta ads, like I think right now my biggest constraint. I was listening to Alex Hermosi the other day. He's like, if you're under like six figures, dude, it's like your main problem is just people don't know you, and
Right.
people definitely don't know me. So that's why one, I do content a bunch,
Right.
but then two, cold calling, it's like I can only get a certain amount of dials in per hour. I, like I have to have another person that's trained to actually be able to skill and just like the barrier of okay, I can make one video, put that out for a month, put a few $100s behind it, and then reach thousands of people that are most likely qualified based off like Instagram settings and stuff, as opposed to I contact a few people. Yes, I'm getting there right away. I'm getting right to the message, but I have a little bit less control because it's another person. So I,
Yeah.
I think shifting maybe like what I'm planning to do is to shift those cold callers over to be they're just like following up with warm leads that I'll be getting from med ads
Yeah.
because I have like my CRM. I got a bunch of people who are definitely qualified. It's just getting them on the phone and being like, hey, were you still interested in this? And then putting them through my pipeline. But that's once again so many contacts and you have to delegate that stuff, or else
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
I would I'd be sitting here for hours and
Well, you should use a call agent to delegate that to. No?
Well, funny enough, in Canada, it's actually illegal. So
Oh, is
you,
it?
yeah, it's like
Right.
I actually looked at that in the group or like the
Right.
AVP group chat. I was like, guys, like, what's the thoughts on this? And I got a
Huh.
lot of, dude, that might take down your agency. I was like, okay, we're not doing that.
Wow. Okay.
So
Right.
yeah, I'm not
Like,
sure what law. Go
that's
ahead.
interesting because like every other day I'm getting a call from AI essentially saying, do you wanna invest in oil, or do you wanna buy something else, gold?
Maybe it's different in the UK. I'm not quite sure, but I know in Canada, if you do that
Yeah.
and the government catches you or you get reported a few enough times. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
registered as a business, so it's like I like
True.
my business. Let's not do that. So yeah.
I mean, in the
Um.
UK, I'm pretty sure they're still talking about it, so they haven't implemented it, but it might just
Okay.
come in very quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
So back shifting back to the cold call frame here.
Yeah.
Um. One, what made you start cold calling, and two, what have you learned from it?
What made me start cold calling?
Mhm.
Well, to be honest with you, it's just the cheapest outreach method, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, you have a phone, and especially now you can search everyone up on Google. You can just
Exactly.
get the number and just call them up. That's the simplest way to get someone to know you, to get someone to like you, to start a
Mhm.
conversation before anything else. So that's why I started it. But I really like the idea you mentioned from Alex Hormozy. If you're under six figures, then the main problem is that people don't know you.
Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's actually a great frame. Um, so I'm looking into meta ads as well.
Mhm.
What was your second question? What have I learned from cold calling?
Um, yeah, what have you learned from it? Because I know for myself, I mean, one, just confidence to be able to talk to people. I've
Yeah,
been I've been told no hundreds of times in
yeah,
some nice and some rude ways, and it's helped just like overall with how I am as a person. So like from when you started to where you are now, what have you pulled from it?
yeah. I mean, it's you're 100% correct. Have you ever noticed that you don't really see salespeople without a girlfriend? That's what I've noticed.
I I was talking with uh, this friend the other day about it. It's all like psychology. Are you getting into
Yeah,
like the psychology of it? Yeah,
yeah,
it's all psychology and stuff you learn from like sales and
yeah,
understanding why people make excuses for some things and then
yeah,
being able to like get into that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Get
yeah.
into that.
Well, yeah. You bring up a good point. Yeah, a lot of cold calling as well. I've pulled away from it. Psychology. The reason,
Yeah.
I don't know if you do this, but after I'm done a cold call, when I do them, most of the time I've delegated it. But
Okay.
when I do cold calling, or when I was mainly just cold calling, I would always write down the objections
Right.
of what that person said in the end. So if I, for example,
Same.
said,
Same.
yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that. Some of the objections you've had. When I would do like website outreach, I would often get like, "Oh, we're too busy right now," or "We already have a guy for that."
Yeah.
And what I would say in response, usually, I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, no worries." So like calming them down, normalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be like, hey, just curious, when's the last time your guy maybe updated your website? And I'd be going out to people, of course, who either A, didn't have a very good website, or
Yeah.
B, they were like, oh, we're in the process of it. And then I'd just circle back to them and they'd be like, yeah, for not a while. And I'm like, okay, well, I just had a look on your site. Your, what is it, blank? Your load time's like something like this. Call to action's not clear, blah, blah, blah. So I'd just go through a few things I pull from it and I'd be like, this is probably a problem costing you. And then I go into my pitch. All of this in about 30 seconds, by the way,
Right.
to
Right.
be
Right.
very concise.
Yeah.
And I always outreach with the website demo.
Of
That's
course.
just what I found to
Yeah.
be the
Yeah.
most effective. Bring a demo to the table. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you do that for automations. Everything
I
I
do
do
that
is
as well.
demo up. Yes, definitely just showing people the thing itself is a great way to pull it across. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, so I made this demo for you,
Do
five,
you want to
ten
have a look?
minutes. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey man, if you love it or hate it, just let me know after 5 minutes, and you could dip. How does that sound? And they're like, all right. So that's what's worked for me effectively from
Okay.
cold calling. But sorry, what you've been
Does it?
saying.
Does it like how well does it work for you?
Oh, like book rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I would do it myself, I probably every like 10 or 12 calls I might get somebody. I mean,
Okay.
granted, when I delegated it, it's a different skill level, so booking rate did drop.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I always worked very locally, so I could,
Yeah.
like, one of my strategies would always be either a if I saw them in public, I would write their number down, or I'd use my phone to.
Wait, does that work?
What's that?
Does that work? Just calling them up from their like let's say work vans and
Dude,
everything.
I've my favorite story ever from a client. I was at Tim Hortons, dude. I just came off of my shift at this grocery store I work at,
Hmm.
and I saw a guy in a truck. He wasn't in the truck, but I saw the truck. It was 10 o'clock at night, dude. Blizzardy
Right.
night by Tim Hortons. I don't know if you know what that is. It's
I
like a
don't
Starbucks for
actually.
Canada. Yeah. So, anyways, that's
Okay.
because you're in the UK.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. So, anyways, I go out at 10 o'clock at night. I see this van. It's a bad season for business. Okay,
Right.
it's a bad season. So I look at this guy's car and I'm like, okay, he's got a number on it. So I called him up 3 times.
At
It
10
goes
o'clock
to
at night.
10 o'clock at night, man. He's actually like in the bathroom. So I called him
Right.
up 3 times and I was like,
What were you
okay,
thinking? Why couldn't you do the next morning?
because I was like, it had to be now. Like business was
10
bad
o'clock at
enough.
night.
Well,
Right.
10 o'clock at
Right.
night. I just came off of my shift and I just looked outside, saw a van. I'm like, that's the guy, man. He's like, you're not getting away from me. So,
That is
like
inspirational.
a dog grabbing onto a rag man or like grabbing onto a chew toy, just not letting go. I
Yeah.
called 3 times, no answer. He comes out. I see him at the front of the building, dude. And I have this website demo I prepared for him because that's what I did. Like I went around locally and showed them
Right.
website demos, or like I
Like
bring
their
them on a
their
Zoom
website
call.
though, right?
I made him a website demo.
Like immediately on the
A new
spot.
one.
Okay.
I made it a little bit prep before, but yeah. So,
Okay.
anyways, I then walked up to him after he saw. I was like, "Hey, dude, I called you." He's like, "Were you the guy who called me 3 times?" I'm like, "Yes, that was me. I made you this this website demo." So I showed
You're
him it, and he's
joking.
like, he's like, this is sick. And I'm like, thanks, dude. I'm like, here's my business card. And then I closed him recently, and now he's been getting me a lot of referrals. So shout out to Luke if you're listening to this. I love you, man. And yeah, a lot of my stuff is local, but that's why I'm starting to
Right.
look at the meta ads, and it's
Hmm.
like I can't charge as much, or like my region's not terrible. Like I live in the Niagara region, and there's like
Hmm.
500,000 people, 1 million people in here. And if I want to, reach out to bigger businesses, be able to up my ticket, etc.,
Hmm.
then sometimes local businesses don't really work. I have to go for some medium-sized businesses, which might be outside.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I still like to work. I really do trying to work locally, just
Yeah.
because I can reference more things. Maybe they see me with my other medias. I do a lot of big running events, so if people see like that, they'd be like, oh, it's this guy, and it's connections, and it builds warmness. So
Hmm.
I really try and like use that a lot. So anything to incorporate
That
my personal brand with my business brand, and just
yeah, but
weave it all together.
that's just a crazy story, Adam. Like typically I don't even call people after 7 because like after 7 p.m. I've had people just tell me like, why are you calling me at night? Like you called them 3 times.
I
That's
if
crazy
some
tenacity.
it was bad season. It was bad season. But
Right.
point being, that's not how you're gonna get every client. Like I already said that on Brian's show. I told the
Right.
same story to him,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, that's not how you're gonna get every client. But when you have to like get somebody, you can do a lot more than you think.
True.
So
True.
yeah,
100%
it's
agree.
so I of course I don't really like I have times that are optimized too. Like for example, like I know like 12 to 4 is like best pickup rate. At
Yeah.
least I have like a 1 in 2 chance, or maybe like a 2 out of 3 chance. But yeah, like once you start getting to the later hours, then
Yeah.
you definitely do see a drop off. But for you, sir, with automation, seeing your cold calling for it, I'm curious, what kind of objections are you getting?
What kind of objections? Oh,
You
jeez,
said
all
on your
kinds,
objection
man.
list, yeah.
Um, okay, well, a big number of people straight up just hate AIs
Mhm.
because, like I said, property is a very old business. So
Yeah,
a lot of people just hear AI and they're just like, no, we want the human touch. We don't want AI taking care of this, taking care of that.
right.
Like I've had people tell me I'd rather lose sales than use AI, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah, I'm sure they're full of themselves on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's actually a huge objection nowadays because, well, because of the obvious reasons. But
Mm,
besides that, typically agencies, it depends on whether it's a big agency or a small agency. If it's a big agency, they don't necessarily, they want to work with someone who has more history because I am just starting out. That is
mm.
a bit of a difficulty. So with big agencies, multiple different locations, it's very hard to get into. With smaller agencies, though, they don't have the call volumes or they don't have the inquiry volumes to justify it. So what I am looking at is the middle chunk. That's
Yeah,
where,
right.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's your experience as well. Probably.
I do try and work with like SMBs. I mean, I am trying to work with more middle-sized businesses just so
Yeah,
I have the ability to charge a higher ticket. So like,
yeah,
they're actually getting more calls, etc., and actually have stuff I can work with for them.
of course.
But I I was actually wish I had my notes, dude. I was writing down a bunch of notes. I listened to a lot of podcasts from other business owners, so like Dan Martell, Alex Hormozy,
Yeah.
all those guys.
Oh, I love Alex
And
Amosi.
yeah, dude, he's great to. I mean,
He's,
he's a
he's like the
millionaire. So
business Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's great to model off of. So he was saying that if you don't have the reputation, then you can have the preparation. So for
Hmm.
example, something I got from a client that I recently signed on, he circled back to me after like a few months. Like he came out of my I didn't even know. He just like came and texted me out of the blue. He's like, hey Adam, I remember you were doing like website demos. So I'd be like, yeah. I'm like, sorry, dude. Like, no offense, but I have like zero clue who you are. Like, his number
Hmm.
was like whatever. Like, it was like blacked out. I was like, I got no clue. He's like, I'm Tim from, but blank, and I was like,
You
oh, I'm
probably
like,
still don't remember.
I was like, yeah, I was like, still, I had no clue. And so I pull him up, and I was like, I still have no clue. And
Yeah, yeah.
so, anyways, I was like, okay. So like, this guy obviously remembers me, and I think the reason why is because when I outreached, a lot of times, I don't know how many times you circle back to like the businesses you call. I call
Yeah.
them multiple times,
Hmm.
like to really put the nail in the coffin. But it's also in the follow up too of like what I'm not just saying to them on the phone. Because whatever I say on the phone, okay, like they probably don't believe me. I mean, most of the time, unless I'm like I can make a lot of good warm connections, which is why I
Yeah.
work locally a lot of times. It's 100 times more easy.
Yeah.
Then
Of course.
I try and work on what I can do in the follow up. So texting them over, for example. I learned this from Yash from the Impact team. He is good at sales and he's a closer. Or no, he's a setter. I don't know. He's closer. And
Right.
Yash talked about in the follow up, you could send them content to educate them, or you can send them things to either A, fix their problem awareness, or B, their solution awareness. So, for example, their AI, if I don't know if you make content or not, but I've done this. I've
I'm
shared
trying
some
to.
of my videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
content's huge, dude. I
Yeah.
like before I started content, like not only did it increase like my perceived value, like for example, just like one seeing social proof on the website, but then two, people can go on YouTube and they're like, oh, how do you do this? I'm like, this is how I do it. You can go through all my videos
Mm.
and watch me explain. A very open book.
Right.
And that helps people kind of look at the end of the day, be like, okay, whatever I'm buying from this guy, he's implementing. The
Right.
education is clearly there. He's not gatekeeping anything. So it's just once again like it helps build that reputation, so you don't have to do as much preparation. Still preparing a lot, obviously,
Yeah.
but your reputation helps,
Have you
support
have
that.
you have you have you had actual closed leads from the Facebook funnel? Sorry, YouTube.
On the YouTube, I have had a few people reach out, but I honestly think it's been more supportive right now because I don't have a whole
Right.
lot of views on it or nor subscribers, but it's
Yeah.
actually been more helpful with warming people up.
I see.
Like I've had one of the guys I recently closed. He's an electrician in my area. He searched me up. Now a bit of my personal brand, but also my business brand bled into it. He went online. He's like, "Yeah, I watched you did this, this, and this."
Hmm.
I was gonna lose him
Right.
after the sale because I didn't clear the partner objection, and he was like, "Yeah, I have to go to." I was like, "Shoot, dude, I forgot to do that. I probably lost him." And then he
Right.
comes back to me. And he's like, "Hey, I saw some of your content. I saw your personal brand," and I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, like let's make a deal out of it." I was
Wow.
like, so.
Okay.
I completely lost him there. I was like, I messed up on the sales call, but I had those extra things of my reputation
Good
where I
on
guess
you.
that caught him and changed
Yeah.
his mind. Thank you. So yeah, for me, I found that the content's really good to warm people up. So if
Yeah.
I'm sending them, for example, a video about why you were saying in the sense of the property management, sorry,
Yeah.
people have like skepticism about AI.
Hmm.
You could send them a video of you. You could be like, hey, if are you curious about why AI is actually
Yeah.
beneficial for your property management business? Here's why. And then you go through, be like, yeah, we had this business, or even just could do a demo. Be like, imagine you had 50 calls a day, you couldn't answer them all, and you had a voice agent that sounded like this, taking care of them. And then you show them a video of you simulating a demo, and then
Right.
you send that off to them. Like, I mean, chances are not everyone's gonna watch it, but you just send it off. Now they have a warm video of you, your face, the guy on the phone that he talked to earlier, explaining exactly how we do it. Like, you're giving them an SOP of
Do you explain how you do it as well, or you just do a demo of
exactly.
your product?
I mean, well, no, in the video I'm sending the warm up, I send them just like the thing,
Okay, this is
because once
how it works. Yeah. I
yeah,
see.
I only have like, I mean, anyone watching a video, dude, most people don't even read your follow up text anyways,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
like video, if you send it, it's just like straight to the point, being like, boom, we want to see how this could help your property management. Boom, here's how it goes. Okay, demo, this is how it answers, and it
Yeah.
can handle 50 calls a day. Boom, done, point. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, if you call them on the phone, you could send them that video, and then I don't know, a day or two later, you follow up and be like, yo, did you see the video? And if they're like, yeah, I did. That's actually really cool. Then you can talk about it. You opened up with a
Hmm.
warm conversation. Now, when you're calling them back for the cold call again, it's not just, hey, have you thought about it? And they smash you to bits. Like, hey, did you see this video I sent you over of me talking about this? Because not only does it show that
Wait,
you're
wait,
actually
wait. So
caring enough,
typically you already have their mobile at this point.
I already have them. What, sorry?
Their mobile. The mobile number.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, usually, like, if I reach out to them
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, call me back later, I'll be like, oh, is this your personal? And then just like to know, because if I don't want to send them a text and then it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
not going
yeah.
anywhere.
Right,
That
right.
or I can send it to their email, but typically most people I call are it's to their mobile because they're like SMBs. It's like sole operator handles all their phones from their
Gotcha.
personal. So
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah,
So I do a somewhat similar thing, wherein I have a Facebook group for property
yeah,
investors and agencies. These are specifically, I specifically just post tutorials on how to implement very, very simple AI. Like
nice.
something as simple as just an OCR extension on Chrome so that they don't need to copy words by typing, for example.
Mhm.
Something very, very similar. How to use Claude,
Yeah,
for example. A lot of people don't even use Claude. They don't even
it's
know.
crazy. It's
Yeah, they don't even
crazy.
know. They think Claude is like Google. I've talked to
Yeah,
so many people that think Claude is like Google. But essentially, I have a Facebook group like that wherein when I talk to an investor or when I talk to an agency owner who's essentially not fully on board yet, I just say, okay, well, don't worry, just check out some of the content. Maybe something would be useful to you, and then hopefully one day from that organic content grows a customer or someone I can work with. That's something similar that I'm doing.
yeah. Just keeping up with the content. Like I know I'm
Yeah,
myself. I want to. I mean, one, that's why I do these because these are
yeah,
awesome pieces of content to share with people.
yeah,
But also, just it compounds your reputation. Like if I have 100 videos of me explaining exactly how I do my process, each little niche step, I'm a
yeah,
very open book. I'm an expert clearly on what I'm talking about because I've made 100 videos about it,
yeah.
and I can just send that off to any person. Then that just makes you look more professional. So
That's true. That's true. There's a thing I'm trying to get into, but consistency is key, man. That's it's always the hardest part because I'd post a content 3 times in the same day and then none for the next 2 weeks, kind of thing. So that's actually something I'm
I
working on.
I learned this from Dan Martell, and it's if you have a hard time trying to do something, you can either add friction, or sorry, if you're trying to do something, you can either add friction or remove friction.
Okay.
So what that means is, for example, if I'm trying to, and this could be with anything in life, if I'm trying to, you know, I don't want to get to the cookie jar as much, I might move the cookie jar by adding friction up to the high shelf. So it's more work. So I don't want
Okay.
to have to do it. Same
Right.
way if I want to go post content, if I want to remove friction, why am I following up? Well, it's because I don't have things to make content about. B, um, I it's not a priority. Whatever, just like remove everything
Yeah.
to okay, well, how can I make a bunch of content? My goal is maybe 3 posts a day. How do I do
Mm-hmm.
21 posts a week? Well, maybe I'm not making 21 posts, or maybe I'm not making 3 posts a day. I'm either bulk scheduling them, I'm either making one long form piece of content and then chopping that up. That's exactly what I do. And then
Right.
I chop it up and then I have now dozens of clips and I don't even have to think about it. And then I use an AI software like Opus Clip and then it
Yeah.
puts it all out for me. I schedule my content weeks out. I never have to think about it. And I'm just posting
Hmm.
and I'm educating people and yeah, just like removing friction. So if I'm having a
That's
hard time
brilliant.
posting content, if I'm having, thank you. If I'm having a
Yeah.
hard time posting content, then I'll just make it easier to post content. That's why I started doing the long form because
Yeah.
it's one people. I, this is a stat I pulled from Mark Tomlin. If you're going to start getting people to convert through content, they're going to have to at least watch. I think at least 60 minutes,
Yeah.
but usually conversion points around like 4 hours.
Right.
So if I only
Yeah.
post Instagram Reels, 60 seconds, that's a lot of Instagram Reels. I think that's like 240 Instagram Reels. So
Uh-huh.
it's a ton of no like 200, I think I have like 500 posts up since my account started. So someone would have to watch half of every single video I've ever posted if average was 1 minute versus okay maybe they go through 4 or 5 of my pieces of video or they go through like 2 podcasts and now
Hmm.
they watch me for 4 hours, which is typically when conversion point is. So
Hmm.
doing the long form has helped. I think the most beneficial thing for me though has honestly been just regurgitating my workflows, being able to convey it better. For example, if someone asked me what I do at the start, like before I did content, like my English wasn't as good, and it just talking about my product more and what I do has kind of helped me understand a little bit deeper. Like I'm constantly talking about it. I'm constantly repping it out. I know how to say it in shorter phrases and just
Yeah.
talking more. It just helped the most with
Yeah. I
everything
mean, this is something cold calling teaches you as well.
as well. Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Yeah, so it's essentially repeating the same idea over and over again when people throw different objections in, like basically most objections boil down to a few, right? and
Mhm.
essentially just dial like filtering all of that into the few categories of objections, and then handling it using their words, mirroring them, and essentially making sure that they're hearing you. Because one way, for example, very quick and easy way, Chris Voss, actually, I was watching his content, but
Yeah.
there's this technique called mirroring. Essentially,
Yeah.
when somebody's talking to you, you just repeat the last three most important words to them,
Mhm.
and that triggers an or that's right, and essentially that makes them feel heard, and then you can just continue the conversation from there, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of it, cold calling is teaching you a lot of that, man.
The back channeling, yeah, that was uh, when I was doing the impact team and learning a bit of sales from there. One of the
Yeah,
biggest things was, and I still do, I say a lot of ums and you knows, and but if you remove your filler words, you add in back channeling,
yeah,
if, like so, like being like, yeah, but just like you were doing a second ago, then it makes them feel more heard, and just comes across like you're an actual listener, like you're a human
yeah,
being. If I'm just sitting on the other side of the phone where I'm just like
yeah, yeah,
They're
exactly.
just, then they're just like it doesn't feel like a conversation. It doesn't feel like I'm talking to a human being. And
Yeah,
especially in cold calling, you got about generously 10 seconds to actually
yeah,
hook that person,
100%,
and then 30,
100%.
30 seconds to get the whole point across. So just getting being very good at just like being right on the ball, convey that trust. This is why I'm here. This is what I could do for you, etc.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
So
mean, I don't know about other outreach method as much, to be fair, but cold calling is definitely like super important, even just for sales training. I think because you learn to
100%.
get your pitch down to 30 seconds, and then down to 10 seconds,
Mhm.
and then down to 5 seconds. Like you have to be able to convert like even under 5 seconds. Like because some people give you more time, some people give you less time, and within all the different time frames, you have to be able to sell your product well, and that's like
Mhm.
incredible.
Yeah, I wanted to. You're asking me a lot of questions. I want to put the spotlight back on you
Right, go
here.
on.
So you said you do have a lot of work you've done in automations, and Michael Espice has had a lot of fun projects he's talked about. So,
Yeah.
what's been like your favorite automation project to work on?
Okay. To be honest, not necessarily on the voice AI side, because the voice AI
Mhm.
side's quite obvious, right? Everyone knows how to use it. But
Mhm.
a project that I built for an agency in the UK, it's an independent agency, so each agent is focusing on their own properties and their own landlords
Right.
and stuff like that. I was working with this agent, and obviously, being the only person in the business, I'm sure a lot of your customers are similar as well. They're drowned in inquiries, and they're
They're,
drowned in follow ups.
they're drowned in, sorry?
They're drowned in inquiries. So let's say you put up a property listing. You're probably
Yeah.
getting 10 inquiries per day. And over a week, that's already 70 inquiries, right?
Most of my stuff's outbound. No,
Right.
I am trying to get it more to be inbound, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for these agencies,
Hmm.
for each property, you have about 50 to 70 people looking at it. Let's
Yeah.
say on a lower end, 50 to 70 people looking at it. Maybe one tenth of them, maybe one
Mm.
seventh of them book in to view the property. But most people that view the property don't actually buy the property or actually rent the property, right?
Mm.
So they move on and they do something else. And like traditionally for estate agencies, it's actually like a big problem, I reckon. I don't know if they themselves see it as a big problem, but they're leaking leads that way because that
Right.
person that's not buying the property, that's not renting the property, which is nine people out of 10 that actually saw the property, they're just going away. No one's chasing them up because in the UK, the renter or the buyer is not paying the agent. The agent is being paid by the property owner.
Right.
So at all times, the property owner is always getting a higher priority, and the person who's
Mhm.
looking to rent or the person who's looking to buy has lower priority. And sometimes they just get forgotten. So
So you're seeing that a big issue is the follow up, and that there's been a lot of people that, sorry, yeah, of course, as your sales funnel narrows, there's still a lot of people at the bottom who are going to be potential buyers,
yeah,
except that sometimes they just leak out because they weren't given enough attention.
Exactly, exactly, 100%. So if you think about a buyer, nobody just views a property for fun. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah.
I'm telling you I have a property for sale for, let's say, 500k pounds, right? And Adam,
Hmm.
you came over to view it. You're not here for fun. You have 500k to spend, right? On a property, either for
Right.
investment or you want to stay in there yourself. So you're actually a very, very important lead. And if you don't buy this house and you get forgotten, you're just buying another house.
Hmm.
So that's the big problem that people were facing. I don't necessarily know whether they think it's a big problem, but I myself think that's where they're leaking leads. What we built for this agency, but in
Hmm.
particular, is essentially just a chatbot. It's quite simple. We can integrate
Right.
email or voice agents to it. But when you inquire about a specific property, you're automatically engaged with the chatbot. The chatbot
Hmm.
has all the property information. So it's telling you, okay, well, Adam, you're interested in this 500k house in London. I can tell you more about it. Are you buying with a mortgage or are you buying with your cash? It can pre-qualify you so that
Right.
once you tell me all the information and I figure that, okay, Adam, you're a real deal. You're looking to buy, then we can book in a viewing directly with that person. It's over text or
Nice.
over WhatsApp. So people don't even know it's an AI because it's like literally just text, right?
Yeah.
So after you view the property, the AI is continuously with you every few days or every week. It's asking you, hey, how's your property search going? Here's a new list of properties that you might be interested in. That's very similar
Nice.
to whatever you viewed. So constantly, you have a new you're a qualified buyer. You have 500k to spend, and I'm constantly
Right.
showing you new properties around. Essentially, it's just an AI that follows you around until you buy a property. If not from us, then you just tell us one day that you've already found it somewhere else, and then we stop chasing you. So that I think is a brilliant idea, and that I think is something that every agency essentially should implement in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, from my own experience, the follow up is where the sale is. If
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
going off of first contact, those 9 people that you're saying before, like you have to follow up with them. You have to show them that you care because everybody can just say hello to you once, but not everybody can actually follow up several times, see how your journey's going,
Yeah,
and show that you're actually there for that. So,
yeah.
just curious, what's like your tech stack for this, if you don't mind sharing?
The tech stack for this, it's literally fully built by code, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is one of the first projects that we took on. Literally Python, AWS Lambda, and then connected it with some Twilio, WhatsApp numbers, and text numbers. But I have
Nice.
recently discovered that you can do very similar things with ManyChat. I don't know if you've used it.
I have used ManyChat. Yeah, is that
Yeah,
is that to replace Twilio or no?
maybe potentially. You can just connect
Or
Twilio to
sorry,
ManyChat as well, right?
you're I have Twilio set up for an automation with this one gym owner. ManyChat, are you using that for like Instagram DMs and like Facebook and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
On
Yeah.
WhatsApp as well. Like, I recently just found out about them, so maybe they can replace some of it as well. But literally just all from code. Yeah,
Nice. Is that like agentic or you code it yourself?
mostly agentic.
Okay.
Initially, the
You did.
prototype's just like completely coded by me, but
Nice.
yeah, after a certain point, Claude Code's like taking off. It's always
Yeah.
going to be much faster, much better.
Yeah.
But I don't know what your
How
experience is with AI coding, but I always like to
100%.
see what the structure is first before they do anything, so I know how to
100%.
fix it if it does go wrong.
Yeah. When I got into agentic coding, probably in around like December, when
Right.
it started to really take off. I found that, I mean, with Fable 5 newly released, I think the last few months were like just like
Yeah.
crazy crazy
Crazy.
improvement. Yeah, right now, like with Fable 5, I actually haven't played around with the relaunch of it too much because it burned through all my credits, but yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's power hungry, man. But it was super crazy to start off and go from like Opus 4.5, Opus 4.6. It's on Opus 4.8 now.
Is it?
So
I'm not. I'm.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not fully updated, to be honest with you.
yeah, I'm more in the Claude hemisphere, but yeah, some of these agentic coding tools, I of course like always plan first. I mean, man, sometimes those PRs, dude, are like long. They're they're long, like having to go through them all. So I try my best to skim through it. You always have to do it. It's a really good habit. I learned that from Jasmine from How to AI. She has a
Hmm.
good podcast as well. And yeah, it's really important. You have to read through everything that the agent is putting in together for a plan for you, because otherwise, it'll push something off, and it's like, oh, now we have several bugs, and it's like the agent's good enough where the outcome was messed up because you didn't plan it properly. The agent's very capable to
Yeah.
almost do anything you want now.
Do you keep
It's
a
it's
local copy of whatever you're building as well? So if you have a database of all your customer information, for example, do you save it somewhere else as well, or
I
can
do. I
the
have
LLM access it?
Yeah, I have. I use Supabase a lot. I use GitHub as well, and I also do have some files on my computer for some special clients. So everything is backed up
Yeah.
appropriately, just so like Claude doesn't go in like
Yeah.
a bull in a
Yeah.
china shop, and just go
I have
just
heard
messing it
of
all up.
multiple people that got their entire database essentially deleted by Claude, and Claude's just like, "Oops,
Mhm.
sorry."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You gotta be careful. But once again, that all comes from just like if you read through your request, or like what Claude's actually planning out, then you won't have any issues with that. So.
Is that true? Because I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes it just runs weird commands even under the same plan.
What models are you using?
It's probably Opus 4.6 or 4.7, one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
What issues are you having? Because I know a lot of times Claude does, like for example, I use Claude to help plan out my day. I love using it the time block, dude, because
To
I
plan
give
out your
it a lot
day.
of, dude. It's wonderful because that's
Who's the
something.
robot now, Adam? Who's the
Yeah,
robot?
dude. Yeah, I could talk about that a little bit. It's wonderful, man. The time block. I always wanted the time block, but I'll get into that after. Yeah, like for Claude, I don't know if you use like the commands like ultra think, or you use its plan, or even like this asking Claude, are you sure, dude? Can you investigate this again?
Hmm.
I'm very, very careful with making like just like glazing over something with Claude. Like I'll ask it probably 5 times. I'll be
Yeah.
like, is this good? Are you sure this is good? Can you verify this? And then like just 100% making sure. Sub agents are wonderful too because they don't burn any of your tokens, I don't think. Sub
Hmm.
agents, I have like 10 of them. Some of them are for like checking the Supabase, Vercel
Right.
deployments, just code review in general. And I'll be like, yo, sub agents, get to work. Go make sure this works.
Right.
And they
Right.
go through, and I I don't think it's messed up much stuff since I've incorporated that. Like I always do like plan, ultra think so it actually looks deeper in the roots of the code.
Is that Claude
So
skill?
that is a command. That's a command
Okay.
actually. It's really not that complicated. But I when I went through the Claude courses, because I wanted to kind of learn a little bit better about it.
Hmm.
I learned the difference between like each model. So Haiku is great for like parsing and reading a bunch of text. Sonnet's a little bit better for like quick coding task or just like general inquiries. And then Opus, if you want that big thinking for like coding commands, is great for that. And then I mean Fable 5 is just a monster.
Yeah.
So Fable 5 actually I think is best for. I learned this from a guy up in Niagara Falls. I was at this business thing. Apparently Fable 5 is using the same logic as Opus 4.8, and you should only use Fable 5 to actually just review over what Opus is planning for its code, because it's the same thing. It's literally just a a different sticker or different like car paint slapped
Why?
on.
Why is it much better then? Is
I
it
think
much
for
better?
like when it, I think for no like its logic and its ability to like catch bugs is a lot better. It like for the benchmarks for I'm not a benchmark geek, but I
Okay.
do hear about it. Like the security or like the cybersecurity benchmarks on Fable 5 are like way better for
Yeah. Yeah.
Opus, and then also like code review as well.
Hmm.
So I think using Opus 4.8 to write the plan and then having switching your model and using Fable 5 to go ahead, excuse me, and using Fable 5 to go ahead and review that before you actually push it, then that's the better flow as opposed to just using Fable 5 straight through because you're burning tokens. Now, if you're not
Right.
really token aware, I don't think it really matters. I haven't personally tried this, but I'm just taking it from a word of some software developer I know. So
Right. Right. But they are the
I
same thing, you're saying.
they have some similar components, but of course, like Fable 5 on the benchmarks has super
Right.
exceeded Opus 4.8 on some things.
Okay.
But um, I always talk about like how Claude plans my day out. Is that something you're curious about or no?
Yeah, I'm super curious about it. Walk me through your
Okay.
day. Or should Claude walk me through it?
Yeah. I have given Claude a lot of context on like what I do, for example. So I have
Okay.
Claude help plan out my. Well, firstly, I'll talk about why I have Claude plan out. Why the heck do I give it off to an agent? Do I follow it like a robot? No, I still have my own human thinking. But yes, I definitely do utilize Claude to help prioritize tasks because sometimes as humans we just love to jump on things that are on fire, not on things that we should be doing. So I have given it to Claude because Claude has one. It can go through every email, every text
Hmm.
message. I use Quo for a lot of my text messages now because
What's
it has an
quote?
API. Quo is a it's a phone and texting provider, and it
Okay.
has an API connected to it. I think there are better alternatives, but Quo has
Better
just
than Twilio.
been the different tools. You still can actually
Right.
send SMS via Quo. It's a little more expensive, but it's
Okay.
also because it's like it's you're gonna use it as like an actual like phone, like your app, like your
Oh,
text
right.
iMessage.
I see what you mean. I see what you
So
mean. Okay.
yeah. So anyways, I use Quo because it's like has an API. I don't have to do like Claude in my browser or anything. Just it's like it's much easier to pull through text. So it can go through all my emails, all my texts. It can go through, for example, I have the MCP granola hooked up. I talk
Hmm.
to like granola, like it's on my wallpaper. I pull down my phone here, whatever. You click on
Right.
this button, the granola one, and it will, make a granola log or whatever I'm thinking about. And then every night I made a plan my day skill, and Claude slowly gets better every day because I give it more things to like pick up for preferences. But I'll be like, okay, here's everything I did in my day. Here's all my mental notes, and we organize it. So it's like every week, of course, I plan my week, but for every night, I plan my day, sit down with Claude for a few minutes, and we're like, okay, we talked about this today. This idea I want to put in sometime during the week, and it knows like my work shifts and stuff too, or whatever things I'm going to be going to.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if you want to get this task done, we can put it here. Let's slot it in on Thursday. Dude, I've asked Claude before. It's such a time saver. Like it's incredible. Like if I'm like, okay, I want to do this event with my friends, but I know this week's busy. What's an available time slot? And it's like, hey, you probably got Friday morning. And I'd be like, nice, let's do it. And I'm like, thanks, Claude. And it's wonderful because it's like, okay, now I don't have to I don't have to worry about conflicts. If I do have conflicts, Claude's like, yo, you got to cancel one of these. And I'm like, thanks, Claude, I'll do it. And
Oh,
it just,
wow.
dude,
Wow.
it's wonderful. I really should upload a video on. Actually I might have done that already. I think I've already done that on YouTube. You probably go check that out. But basically, this podcast right here is like, okay, I know that 9 o'clock in the morning I can do it with John. Boom, let's schedule it up. So I did that, and just time blocking. Time blocking is huge. If you want to like actually be able to manage your time, like I don't have to worry about, oh, like this. When am I going to do this? I give myself a specific time to do it. I do it at that time. If I don't get it done, then I'll have to reschedule it to some other time or just extend the block. But time blocking has been huge for me to
Right.
help prepare.
And
So
Claude's
I
probably severely helping with that.
because it just
Severely.
has more, it's in a bad way. It has more context
Right.
on what or sorry, like it has more context on my life.
Hmm.
So I can be like, hey Claude, like I want to start doing, you know, more runs in the morning.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, okay, we're gonna go take, whatever time you want to start work at, we're gonna bump it up to here. But I'm also gonna tell you all the sacrifices and all the pros or the cons and the pros to doing this, and then I have to weigh that out myself. So it just goes through all of the logic thinking as opposed to me being like, all right, I'll just start doing extra, and it's like, now I have 10 things I can't get to because I don't have the time, and it's like, well, no, dude, you actually did have the time, you just didn't manage your priorities. So
Right.
Claude kind of knows how to do all that stuff, and every week I plan out my week with it. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful.
That's incredible. You can probably set this up for people as well, to be honest.
I would recommend if anyone wanted to do this. I this is something I learned off of Instagram. A great place to learn. And
It actually
the
is. It's not a joke. It
it,
actually is.
there there's a lot of good resources. You got to be careful because a lot of it is just AI slop, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff on there. I learned this idea from some guy talking about a Claude second brain. He has a Notion second brain, he called it, but basically Notion will like it just has like if it just writes up like documents about what he did in the week because he would use like a connector or like granola or
Yeah.
you can even do like an iPhone shortcut where like you tap on the back of your phone, yeah, like this one, and it will start dictating my thoughts or like whatever I'm saying. I don't use this because it's less
Really?
convenient. Yeah, you
Right.
can do that, and I have that connected to like your Notes app, or it
Mm.
could be
Mm.
connected to a Notion. So create a new Notion, then I could ask Claude to scan that at the end of the day, whatever when I'm planning, so nothing slips through the cracks. And I learned that this guy had a Claude second brain. It stored all his thoughts. I'm like, that's really cool. I was like, I wonder if I could use it to plan my day, and so I did. So I
Hmm.
might be the first person to do this. I might not be, but if anyone is
I've
wanting to try this,
I have heard of similar things being done at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. It's a little bit. I don't know if I love
unnerving,
the idea, to be honest. Yeah.
unnerving.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
having Claude plan my day is a little bit like taking away my agency, isn't it?
How so?
Well, I like the idea that when I feel motivated, I can just jump into things. Maybe we
Yeah,
just have
and like
fundamentally different ways of working.
yeah, that I mean that's how I totally do it too. Like for example, if I'm in it, like if I look at my planner and it's like you should be doing this right now, I'm like okay, well one I know I could do this later, or two I'm like I really want to crush out this right now. Then I would just be like on granola notes or whatever. I'd go right in the terminal like computer, be like Claude, I feel like doing this instead. Manage my day around that. So
Mm.
I'm very very flexible with it. I'm not just like Claude, yep, you take every hour of my day. Let's get to work. It's like it's of course like I'm still the operator behind it all. I'm not like, man, I gotta go to walk my dog for an hour because Claude said so.
Yeah,
It's I'm still the operator, but it just helps give a general framework of how I should organize my priorities based off what I've told it in previous contexts.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, 100%. You should probably set this up for people. Like that sounds like it could help a lot of people.
I think I'll do a video about it. But if anyone does actually want to try and just like jump around with a demo of it, this is how I do everything with Claude. Anytime I hear a cool video, anytime I see a cool video online, is I take the transcript or I either screen record it to get the transcript, and then I put it into my Claude agent. So whatever I just said from like the last 20 minutes to this point right now. So if anybody's doing this with Claude, you can do this. I'm literally yelling at your Claude agent to do it. I would copy the transcript and I would just go, okay, this guy yapped about this for the last 20 minutes. How do I implement it into my system? And then Claude would just start working and it would figure it out for you. You could steal it like this. Cherry pick it right out of the sky, man.
That's the day and age we're living in, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 That's how I've kind of managed to, to figure that out. And it's it works pretty good, man. Ever since I started time blocking, I felt more
Productive.
yeah, not even just productive, but like less stressed about like when am I going to get this done because I'm giving myself to do. You could do this with like you could do this without
Yeah, yeah.
you could do this without Claude too. Like don't be like I have to have an agent. Like time blocking itself is a wonderful technique if you want to get stuff done.
Mm.
That there are other ways to go about your day, but time blocking, it's like when am I going to do this? You do it now. Put it in your schedule. It's a little more work by yourself, and that's why I've delegated to Claude, especially because as a business owner, you have your hands in so many things that it helps. I got a friend. I wouldn't call him a friend. He's a robot friend, but it's like it's no different than Jeff Bezos having his personal assistant. The only difference is he's a few gigabytes of RAM on my computer.
Yeah,
That's
true.
it.
That's true too. Do you still go to school, Adam?
I just graduated.
That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
incredible. You're already doing all this stuff.
I try my best, dude. I'm not where I want to be. So I got plenty of
Yeah, I
work
mean, I
ahead
mean,
for
that's all of us.
yeah. Everyone's always looking to get to that next level. So that actually brings me to a question for you, John. Where is your goal for Tallow right now? Like, what do you want to do in the next like year, 2 years?
Uh, well, Talos, firstly.
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, yeah. Good question. The property scene is definitely somewhere where I want to dominate because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing at the moment, the
Mhm.
UK market. There are quite a few people doing similar things, and obviously, when people hear AI, a few people are going to jump onto it and apply it in different fields. But being more specific, because I am a person in the property scene, what you normally find is that people who are in the property scene don't typically deal with the tech side, and the people who are in the tech side don't really deal with the property scene
Right.
because I have no idea. That's just how it works. But
Okay.
normally that's the case, and I feel like I have a fairly good niche where I can expand market share on.
Hmm.
That's where I'm going to work on for the next year or two.
Nice. And do you, I guess, like, have any like numerical milestones? Like, I want to try and reach out to like 10 businesses for voice AIs, um, or no?
Like daily milestones, or just for this year and
Yeah.
next. Yeah, I mean for this
Yeah.
year
Like,
and the next, like I have a very generic goal, just like most people who are just starting out, 100K by the end of the year. That's a
that'd be nice,
very,
dude.
yeah, yeah. So that's a very generic goal. In terms of clients, I want to get to a point within the next 6 months where I have 10 retainer clients at every point
Nice.
in each month. So that'd be a good starting point to do what I want to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And keeping up with the cold calling.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think it always hones my skills because I started cold calling sometime last year for my property business, and I got
Yes.
quite good at it, like to the point where every three calls I'd make, I'd probably get one to essentially do an appointment with me or so.
Nice.
So
That's
that's
good.
as yeah, so that's for the property side, a little bit different. But I stopped for like 6 months or so, and then I got back into it early this year or a few months ago, and a lot of that skill's gone, man. So it just takes constant drilling, constant working on to make sure that it's always there. So
Mhm.
like cold calling is definitely a skill I'm going to keep up with.
Nice. And do you think that like when you were able to get on a call and like every like 1 in 3 you're able to book in, do you
Yeah,
feel like understanding the pain points helped you? Because like from coming from that background, do you feel like that helped you
100%.
close those
100%.
people? You were able to speak their language.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like, being able to speak their language is like immensely important, because, well, let's say it's a letting agency and they don't necessarily call them leads; they call them just
Hmm.
tenants, right? Like just using that simple switch of language just makes them feel a lot more heard,
Nice.
for sure.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's been like learning about like trades businesses or other businesses
Yeah,
that are local in my region or like region. Like what once I was saying, like speaking their lingo, and
yeah,
even if it's not maybe about their business, but just talking about things relative in the area, it makes them feel heard. Makes it feel like they can trust me. We're experiencing the same thing. So definitely, yeah.
yeah. It's a
And
skill probably needing expanding on, because that also means there's a limitation. There's not a lot of outside fields that I can communicate very, very well on that level with. So, for example, if it's I recently got a tattoo business client, for
okay.
example, which is kind of weird. It's not a huge client. It's not a huge client. We just would Yeah. It's kind of a friend that I'm.
Any tattoo business listening, they feel kind of weird now.
Well, it is weird because it is one of those not really high ticket but somewhat medium ticket agencies where I
Yeah.
don't know if automations necessarily make sense,
What kind of
but
automation did you help them out with?
it's very similar stuff as well. I was running an what I did for them is essentially just an audit, telling them what automations are possible, and
Okay.
we have yet implemented any of them, although we're in talks.
Okay.
But essentially, very similar stuff, chatbots, stuff like that. But the main point I was trying to get through is it's a lot harder in terms of communication for me because like they're talking about aftercare. They're talking about like what to do when you do a tattoo, and then people have to come in again to check out to make sure their skin's not infected and all the rest of it. So like being able to talk to many different fields is also an important skill in my opinion.
Yeah, being well with the market and being able to understand your clients. I've had some people give me the rundown like how they run their business, and I really appreciate it because the next time I talk to someone in their niche, or B, I need to talk to them again, we're kind of on the same level. Of
Yeah.
course, not the same understanding, but if they need to convey something to me about what I need to change on the site or how this automation needs to work because of how their workflow is, then once again, it just gives me that deeper understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, because in my opinion, to understand the workflow is probably the most important part because in some sense when they tell you they're taking calls like every second and it's routing through their mobile number or it's routing through the office number and they're missing those, then like those are two different pain points. One is losing leads, the other one's not going to have enough time to manage their own stuff. So
Exactly.
being able to understand the nuances and the pain points just from their workflow, that's an important part.
Nice. And what do you think's been your favorite part of getting into like voice AI? Like what it's made you most lit up about it?
What's made me most lit up about it?
Mhm.
Good question. It's a very good question. Um,
Playing around with the voices.
Playing around with the voices for sure. You know what I find interesting? What I find interesting is playing around with the accents. I find that
This
no, I don't know. I don't know if
definitely.
I'm getting into dangerous territories here, but different accents obviously have different stereotypes associated with them.
Hmm.
Like for example, I I'm implementing a project for some property investors, not fully live yet. But
Yes.
what I find is if I use an AI voice to call up, let's say, an estate agency saying I want to buy a
Mm.
house, right? Some investors might want that so they can save time and free up their time to do whatever. I played around with different accents and I realized that the Asian accent is actually the best if you want to call up an agency and say you want to buy a house. Now that could be obvious or that could be not obvious, right?
I did. How did you come across this?
Well, it's just like multiple things, right? Multiple dimensions of this. The first dimension, sometimes people
Walk
do
me
figure
through.
out, yeah, yeah. Sometimes people do figure out it's an AI, right? With an Asian accent, it's almost impossible to tell it's an AI because what you're essentially doing is I use an Asian woman in particular.
Okay.
So what happens is you just have a very sweet East Asian woman that says saying, "Hello, how are you doing?" And then you just can't ask the question, "Are you AI?" You know what I mean? Like people cannot confront it. That's the
Yeah.
first dimension. The second dimension is obviously the underlying stereotype that Asian people who are buying overseas probably have more cash and they get more taken care of.
Right.
So,
Right.
and there are a few things underneath it, but what I discovered is just that different accents have different success rates for calls, just any calls.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the accents are something I've definitely played around with myself. Like definitely trying to disguise that like AI stutter,
Yeah,
like if it's talking and then just it's glitching with its words by using an accent. It's if I have an accent, then they might assume that I'm not um native with English.
yeah,
So being able to disguise that with an accent, like Australian accent, or maybe even like a Asian accent, like you're saying,
yeah,
or from someone from the UK,
yeah,
you're
100%.
you'll definitely be able to disguise it. And I actually do have that. I think on my personal agent, I have.
You have different agents of different nationalities, and you talk to them in different accents.
Oh, sorry for like my personal agent that I use on my phone. I use Retail to build it,
Right.
and it has like a bit of like an Australian accent, I think. to it. So that just once again like makes it sound more natural, like
Yeah,
it not a robot. So definitely.
yeah.
Before we close off the show here, I just wanted to ask you, John, if I'm getting into the space and I'm new to getting into voice AI, where should I start?
Where should you start? Well, Mark's content is quite a good place to start, won't you say, Adam?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I would
Mark
say, yeah,
Tomlet.
definitely.
So I definitely say Mark is a very, very helpful guy. I don't know if you can put a link in the description or things like that, but
Definitely. Yeah.
Mark Tomlet, check out his YouTube content and also his school community, which me and you, Adam, are both in.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark's been pivotal. So anyone that wants to get into the AI voice agent field or just anything really about AI, we talk about it all there. So Mark, free promoting, man. Go check out the Voice AI or the Voice AI Pioneer group. You could find that on School, and you can also check out his content on YouTube. Great resource, great group of people in there. That's how I've connected with you, John. And that brings me to the question: where can people find you? Keep up with your journey. Floor is yours.
you can search me up on Facebook just by searching Johnson. Johnson, that's my full name. Johnson Ting, Tango India November Gamma. You can search me up on Facebook or on LinkedIn, shoot me a connect, and I'm always happy to chat about this stuff.
Awesome. Do you have a webpage too, in case people are looking for inquiries?
I don't have a personal webpage, but my company webpage is taloslabs.co.uk if anyone's interested to find out more.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John, for coming on the show today.
Thank
Everyone
you, Adam.
that is watching, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming on once again. And anyone that is looking to keep up with John's story, we'll have all of his links in the description. We'll also have the Voice AI Pioneer group in the description as well. And once again, if you got some value out of the show, hopefully you did, you can drop a follow, rate the show. It helps out more than you know. And other than that, this has been episode 6. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.